GVSU's Student Senate removed the Pledge of Allegiance from their meetings on November 14th. 5 days after, they put it back. But why? And how much of this actually affects Grand Valley? Good afternoon, I'm DeWard and welcome to Laker News, and today we're giving you a special report on this topic. Now we at Laker News always promise to be completely neutral, fair to all sides, and report only the facts in every case, but especially today as we're talking about our own university as well as one of the clubs within it that funds our program. First, let's start from square one. Most people know that the Senate removed the pledge on the 14th, and then it got put back after several days later. But there's a lot that led up to that. Now the pledge in the Senate has been talked about for years now, but with Grand Valley pushing more for diversity on campus every year, along with the goals of our new president, Philomena Mantella, the Senate cabinet decided to get rid of the pledge in their own meeting. For the uninformed, that means the cabinet, which is made up of 1 president and 8 vice presidents, voted to remove the pledge without informing senators so that it wouldn't become an issue in the general meetings. However, the plan backfired. In an interview with Senator Dorian Thompson, he describes how he noticed the missing pledge.
I brought it up that I did not see that it was on the agenda, and when I noticed it, and then a week after I motioned to put it for a vote, and it won to bring it back, and we effectively brought it back with the vote of 21-14.
It doesn't end there, however. After that first general vote, a couple weeks passed until it was brought up again by a student in the gallery. Education major Erin Harshberger tells us her thought process on an interview and in a general meeting.
I believe I was the first person during the school year to make a public comment about it.
Grand Valley State University has an immense lack of diversity. The issue of the pledge being brought up was a glimmer of hope that we might become aware of the soup we are swimming in.
I work in schools as I'm an education major, and so I spend a lot of my time in the public schools in Grand Rapids, and a lot of the thing that we learn as teachers is to not other our students, to provide opportunity.
So on the one hand, you have not just Erin, but many other senators who feel the undertones of religion and nationalism gets in the way of making a more inclusive campus. And on the other hand, senators like Thompson argue that some of the phrases help create a more unified nation. Here he is explaining more in detail.
The Pledge of Allegiance, like I said, that key word all, it is accepting of all people, because right then and there it says that everyone's going to have liberty and justice.
Once again, the Senate voted. This time it was the November 14th vote that we all know. The outcome was 22-10, and another 10 senators abstained from voting. The pledge was removed. Local news source Fox 17 was also there, reporting about the event hours after it happened. Other news sources followed the next day. Almost instantly, the Senate was receiving backlash from donors threatening to pull back funds and parents threatening to pull back their kids from the university. Something to note is that the decision only affects the Senate agenda, so it doesn't affect any other aspect of GVSU's campus. Regardless, Senate got backed into a corner. GVSU's faculty contacted President of the Senate, John Eric Shapiniak, to have the pledge put back on. We have a clip of him from the meeting doing just that.
On Monday, I decided to override the Student Senate vote and reinstate the Pledge of Allegiance myself as allowed in Section 2.03a in our Constitution.
There were mixed responses from everybody. Some people were happy about the pledge being put back. Some were angry since it was what the Senate democratically voted on. Students expressed their disappointment during the general meeting.
And now that we're back to this stand-sit-down thing, you have not done anything to make it a more equitable, more welcoming environment. Instead, you've just made it easier for people to be targeted.
There was a vote, and I feel like then with the override it does not represent people very well and everything.
I don't know any other public school that really cares about the Pledge of Allegiance so much.
Some are angry at President Shapiniak, however, for not fighting back against administration. When we asked Harshberger about it, she gave us an interesting response. Here it is.
And as much as maybe he did say no, and I would have really liked him to say no and stand up for this, maybe he couldn't have. I think that's part of maybe where the frustration is coming from, is that we don't really know how much power the administration has over something that's supposed to be the only form of students having a say.
Right now, the Senate has a moment of silence for native land recognition. To compromise for the vetoed vote, they've added respectful observation of our diverse Laker community. Students are still not satisfied. We asked our President Mantella what she thought about the situation. She responded, in her words, "I support the right of the Student Senate to set its own agenda and debate issues senators find worthy of discussion. Universities should be places where people work out their differences with civility, which we saw with our student senators. Our students stayed committed to civil discourse even when emotions of those outside the Senate and outside of the university community came into play. This was a valuable learning lesson for all involved." Right now, some people are still dissatisfied with the Senate, But the Senate doesn't plan on talking about the Pledge of Allegiance again at the moment. Thanks for watching. I'm Sean DeWard with Laker News. We hope to see you right here after winter break.